Hi. Okay, let us take a look at our newest unit, which is called Powers and Exponents. Okay, put your name on your booklet, and then if you're day 1 or day 2, okay, and here we go. Okay, sometimes when we are multiplying, we need to multiply the same number by itself many times. Okay, an example is 17 times 17 times 17 times 17 times 17. Okay, there must be an easier way. Now powers led us to write repeated multiplication. The base tells us which number we use to multiply, and the exponent, okay, is how many times we multiply the base by itself. Okay, so I'm going to write down 3 examples here for us to take a look at. Okay, so let's get 2 to the 7. Okay, let's get negative 6 squared. Okay, and then let's get negative 4 to the 5. Okay, so if we're looking at these 3, this small superscript up here at the top, these are the exponent. Okay, and this number here, okay, so in this case it's negative 4, this is the base. Whatever comes directly in front of the exponent is the base. So here for negative 6 squared, it's just the 6, that's the base. Okay? Because the negative is not inside a bracket, so it's not attached to the exponent. Okay? And for the 7, the 2 is the base. Okay? So now that we've got that, what makes up a power? Okay, this whole thing together, this is the power. Okay, so in the case of 2 to the 7th, okay, this whole thing is power. And in the case of the negative 6 squared, it's the 6 squared is the power. Okay. Now, what would this look like if we had to write it out? Okay, which is called repeated multiplication. So this would look like 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And negative 6 squared, okay, that would look like a negative, and then I would have my 6's. 2 positive 6's, right? The negative is not inside brackets, so it's not a part of the squaring, okay? And for the last one, we have negative 4 to the 5th, okay? Well, that would be negative 4, negative 4, negative 4. Okay, 5 times, right? Okay, let's give this a try underneath, okay? I have a table here that'll help us, that we can fill in, and I want us to give this a try, okay? So if we're taking a look, some of these are going to jump out as easy right away. Let's start with the ones here that give us a base and an exponent, okay? So if we have negative 2 as the base and the exponent is 5, then the power would be negative 2 to the 5th, okay? And if we use our calculator to calculate that, we'd go bracket, negative 2, close the bracket, and then you need to find the y to the x button on your calculator, okay? See that button right there? Yeah, see that button right there? You're gonna push that button, and then that's gonna let you choose whatever exponent you want. And then here we want it to be a 5, okay? And then that gives us a value of negative 32. Okay, and how would we write that out for repeated multiplication? Well, we would have negative 2 5 times. So negative 2, negative 2, negative 2, negative 2, far so good. Okay, let's go down one here. Okay, we have -6 squared. Okay, so our base, -6. Our power, or our exponent, is 2. And how would that look as repeated multiplication? -6 times -6. Okay, so if I put that in my calculator, 6 negative, and I'm going to square it, notice how it puts a bracket around the negative, equals 36. Okay, now I want to point out something here. Okay, notice how for 6 squared we have an even number of negatives, gives us a positive answer. Notice for this one we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 negatives, so an odd number of negatives, that gives us a negative answer. Okay, keep that in mind. Okay, let's take a look at another one here. Here, -3 to the 4th, what's our base? -3, what's our exponent? 4. Okay, what does that look like as repeated multiplication? -3 times -3 times -3 times -3. Right on. And in standard form, what would that answer be? 3 negative to the 4th, 81. Okay, again, notice how we had a even number of exponents. That's why we have a positive answer. Okay, even number of negatives, even positive answer. Okay, let's take a look at this one here. Okay, so we have 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. Okay, so our base is going to be 4, and our exponent is going to be 5. Okay, so our power is going to be 4 to the 5. Okay, so in an expanded form, get my 4 button, then my y to the x, push 5, and I get 1024. Okay, right on. And let's take a look at the top one here, 5 squared. Okay, so what's our base? It's 5. Our exponent is 2. Repeated multiplication, well, that would be 5 times 5. And notice how you can write it with the x, or you can write it with brackets. They both mean multiplication. Okay, and 5 times 5 is 25. Okay, and right on. Next, we want to figure out, we're only given the standard form, which is 16, and we're given the base. Okay, so what's going to be our exponent? Okay, so let's take a look at the repeated multiplication to figure that out. Okay, so I know that 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. Okay, so my exponent is going to be 4, so my power will be 2 to the 4. Okay, right on. Nice job. Let's turn the page. And we're going to look at, it says, what is the difference between -2 to the 4th and -2 to the 4th? Okay, so let's evaluate this. Okay, so the first thing we notice is, how do we write this out? Well, actually, let's back that up again. What's the first thing we notice? Okay, so here we notice that the base is -2, and here the base is just 2, right? Because there's no bracket, so that negative sign doesn't apply to the exponent. Okay, now it says evaluate it. So let's write this out. Okay, so we'll do the first one here. We'll have -2 to the 4th. Okay, so that's the same as writing -2, -2, -2, -2, which is the same as saying, well, it's going to be positive because we have an even number. So that's going to be 16. What does the next one look like? Well, let's try it out. -2 to the 4th. if we write that out, the negative stays separate by itself, and we write out 2 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now it's negative 16. Okay, so, oh, sorry. So those brackets make a really big difference, right? So pay attention to those, keep those in mind. Okay. Next one says, evaluate a negative 3 squared. What is your base and what is your exponent? Okay, well, your base is negative 3 and your exponent is 2. So if we go to evaluate it, we'd have negative 3 squared equals negative 3 times negative 3. So it's going to be positive 9. Okay, that's it. Easy peasy. Okay. Evaluate negative 3 squared. What is your base? Okay, well, our base this time is 3. And what is our exponent? 2. Okay, so what does that give us? Negative 3 squared equals negative 3 times 3. Watch out, because there's no brackets around the negative, right? So negative 9. Okay. The next example asks you to write the following questions using repeated multiplication, okay, but don't evaluate. So I don't need to find the answer. I just want us to get practice writing repeated multiplication. So this here, okay. So 2 to the third, okay, or 2 cubed would look like 2 times 2 times 2, okay. 4 to the 9th would look like 4. See how annoying it is to have to write these out all the time. Right on, just like that. Okay, 1 to the 7th. Okay, 3 to the 6th. Okay, and the last one, negative 6 to the 4th. This time, make sure you include the negative because it's inside the bracket. Awesome. Okay, I didn't think you would have much difficulty with this. Okay, turn the page. Next one says, express these repeated multiplications as powers and evaluate. Okay, so now it's given repeated multiplications, and we're going to turn that into a power, and then we're going to solve. Okay, so this equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this equals 4 to the 6th, which equals, remember, work down, please. Okay, 4 to the 6th, 4,096. Okay. Let's either leave a definite space for thousands, or let's add a comma, okay, so we can clearly see our place values. Okay. Next one, 5 times 5, so that's the same as saying 5 squared, that's our power, and 5 squared is 25. Okay. Next up, okay, negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. Okay, so that's negative 3 to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to the 5. And if I find that value, negative 243. Okay, notice because the power is odd, my answer is going to be odd. Okay, because I have, oh, my power is odd and I have negatives, that means my answer is also going to be negative. Okay, and the last one here, we have 6 to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 to the 8th, which equals, oh, okay, let's see how there's little commas written in here. Let's write those in ourselves, okay? So 1,679,616. Okay, here we go. Okay, so let's please get comfortable writing commas to show place values, okay, so that we can easily tell what number we're working with. And the last question for this lesson is, which is larger, 2 to the 6th or 6 squared? I'm curious what you think it is. I'm going to get you to guess first, and then we're going to solve. Okay. Okay. So 2 to the 6th equals 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which equals 64. 6 squared equals 6 times 6, which equals 36. Oh, look at that. 2 to the 6th is the winner. Okay, right on. I'd like you to try these questions on the textbook, and then you'll check them against my work. Okay, off you go.